Spider-Man Far From Home was fully loaded with Easter eggs and little details here and there. So many so that we already did a video about some of the things that you probably missed, which you should definitely check out after this video. But as we said, there are a lot of little things here and there. So here we are today with even more things that you might have missed. And be warned, there are spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen the movie, maybe give this video a pass until you do. We guarantee you won't regret it. At the beginning of the film, after the absolutely awesome tribute to the heroes we lost in Avengers Endgame, up-and-coming high school journalist Betty Brant makes an offhanded comment that breaks the fourth wall just a little bit. The line is something along the lines of, "It's time to move on to the next phase of our lives." Anytime you mention the word phase to a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they are certain to get excited, especially since Far From Home marks the official end of the third phase of the MCU. So Betty here is literally telling us all that what the MCU has been is now over, and it's time to move on to Phase 4. Speaking of the future of the MCU and the idea of Phase 4 in general, there was another moment later on in the film that could be pointing at what we might see in the future. During the final moments of the film, Peter Parker is swinging through New York City when we see some recognizable scenery, notably the old Avengers Tower and the spot where the majority of the action happened in 2012's The Avengers. If you look closely, you can see an area under construction, with 3 numbers being circled, explaining what they're doing. There is a space where a 4th number could fit, but instead it's left with a simple question mark. Now this could be just another reference to Phase 4, but what if it is a possible connection to the Fantastic Four, with the circled numbers resembling the First Family's iconic logo? Maybe Avengers Tower will be converted into the Baxter Building. Remember Dr. Selvig from the first 2 Thor films as well as the Avengers? While we haven't seen the good doctor since his very brief appearance in Age of Ultron, it seems that he's been keeping himself fairly busy over the years. While Peter is looking at his entertainment options on the plane, one of the possibilities he could have chosen was an episode of the PBS series Nova, specifically covering Einstein-Rosen bridges, which are basically wormholes, or in this case, the Bifrost. On the cover is Dr. Selvig himself, implying that the former ally of Thor has moved on to hosting educational programming. Upon first meeting Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, Parker is told that he is from another Earth in the multiverse, specifically Earth 833. He also states that he's come to their Earth after the destruction of his own, stating that the MCU takes place on Earth 616. Now, 2 things here. First, the MCU actually takes place on Earth 199999, as stated by Marvel themselves. 616 is the official Earth of the comic continuity, so that is a major hint for massive MCU nerds that Mysterio is full of it. Now, 833 is a cool little reference to the comics, not because it has any sort of big connection to Mysterio, but because it is the home realm of Spider UK, an amalgamation of Spider-Man and Captain Britain, who served as a member of the Captain Britain Corps. Speaking of Mysterio coming from another world, here is a moment that you might have missed if you didn't watch the trailer for Far From Home nearly as many times as I did in the lead up to this movie. In the trailer, Nick Fury said, "Beck is from Earth, just not ours." In the film, however, the line is very subtly changed to, "Beck is from Earth, just not yours." This is the sort of thing that might have just been a small little detail. Maybe just different takes being used between the trailer and the film. But then we find out that this Nick Fury is actually the Skrull agent Talos. So technically this isn't his Earth at all. Nice little subtle hinting there, Marvel. Speaking of differences between the film and the trailers, a lot of you pointed out in the comments of some of our other Spider-Man videos that there were seemingly whole sequences that didn't make it into the film. The most notable of which being the entire action sequence seemingly taking place in a mafia-controlled restaurant, with Spider-Man completely kicking their butts in his Iron Spider suit. There's also the sequence where Peter goes to pick up his passport as well as supplies for his trip. Why these scenes are in the trailers but not in the finished film, who really knows? Though these days there is often so much unused footage on major films that something has to be cut somewhere, otherwise the movie would be like 3+ hours long. Actually, now that I say that out loud, that sounds pretty awesome. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has always had a weird relationship with heroes' names. Sure, characters like Captain America and Iron Man are known by their hero name, but names like Scarlet Witch have never even been said in the MCU. Anyways, Far From Home actually marks the first time that the name Captain Marvel has ever actually been said in the franchise. When Parker is trying to convince Fury that he isn't the best hero for the job, he lists off a few, including the newest Avenger herself, confirming that her name is in fact canon in the films. A small little thing, but as I said, the films don't always say the heroes' more flashy names, so it's nice to see this one pop up. Here's a very hard to catch little detail that really only music aficionados may have caught. During the scene where Parker and Mysterio are grabbing a drink and being best bros, a song can faintly be heard in the background. This is the song called Town Called Malice by The Jam. This 1982 UK rock hit could have easily tipped audiences off to Mysterio's plot. The lyrics talk about people ignoring the bad things that they were doing, as it was up to them to change the town called Malice. Just like the group of former Stark employees who are seemingly fine with the wanton destruction that they're bringing about, as long as it helps them to bring about the changes that they think are necessary. While battling Mysterio's drones on Tower Bridge, Parker found himself in a tough spot, stuck on the ground without any webbing left in his web shooters. Thinking quickly, Parker channeled his inner Captain America and fashioned himself a makeshift shield. The image of Parker holding the shield and his explosive device immediately made us think of Cap in Avengers Endgame, standing strong with his shield and Mjolnir. Plus, here's a little bonus detail, the shield is made out of the Tower Bridge sign, and it is big enough that it could technically classify as a tower shield, a sort of larger shield used during the Middle Ages. Also on the Tower Bridge, we get to see Parker and MJ share their first, admittedly pretty awkward kiss. Aww. Young love. Nearby, eagle-eyed viewers could spot a license plate bearing the letters TASM 143. This is a clear reference to the Amazing Spider-Man number 143, which not only saw Parker and Mary Jane Watson sharing their first kiss in the comics before Parker boarded a plane bound for France, but also was the first appearance of Cyclone, one of the inspirations for the air elemental in the film. Which of these Easter eggs and small details did you catch while watching the movie? Were there any that we missed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're down there, why not subscribe to Screen Rant for more awesome videos in your feed each and every day. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at the movies.